Today we will learn how to create a key figure which will find out the average of last 6 months values. What I mean to say is that suppose there is a key figure and suppose this is the key figure that we have created and from Jan, suppose I am taking the data till today. So what this new key figure will do is it will calculate the average of the last 6 months. So like this, right? So let's get rid of the other key figures. So we have the consensus demand, and this is the average of last 6 months. We have to have the key figure searched by ID. So now we can see this is available. So if we have to look at this 6 months, so the average is 202. So that's what we find. And probably here we can calculate it. So we can just tally these values. We see that it is calculating the average of last 6 months. So now what we want to also to do is that suppose that in a product group or product family level, there are multiple products. So let's see in the master data, what is the product family or product group of these product IDs. So let's look at the product master data. I have to look at this particular products. So their product group is headphones, right? And then within headphones, there are a couple of around 17. So it will be pretty difficult to understand if, or maybe, like if I can take these four, but then these are different ones. So what I intend to do is that I want to have a product group and a few products within and then that. And when I override any key figure, that override value at a product group should disaggregate based on the aggregate of last 6 months at a product level. So what I mean by that, let's take an example. So say I'll delete this and suppose that product 123, right? And then we have another product called 234 and maybe another product called 345. And they all belong to, so this is product ID. And then there is a product group. And maybe the product group name is something like this. So all these products belong to the same product group. And they each have and the key figure for each of these, let's say that the average value, average last 6 months, key figure, right? So the average of, I'll just take an random value for an average. Now, what I want to do is that when I have another key figure, which is, and then this will be at a product level, and I would have another level where it will only be at the product group. So what I will do is I will make a disaggregate key figure or adjusted key figure, and I will adjust this key figure, or maybe, yeah. So this value, when it gets adjusted at this level, it gets adjusted by the uh, in the proportion of the 6 months average. So what I mean to say is that there is a total or proportional value for each of these, right? So let's say, yeah. So this is the total. So each one will have a proportions. So suppose let's calculate the proportion of this over the total, and I'll mark it as fixed, right? So each one of them has a proportion. So what I want this adjusted key figure is to have this value, the overridden value, or let's look at from here, multiplied by whatever I am overriding with at a product group level. So, right, and I will fix this also, something like that. Maybe there might be some thing. Let's see how it turned out to be. So I fixed if 11. So let's not fix this thing. Yeah, maybe let's not fix this one. Yeah. So basically, the intent is that whatever it is, this sum should be equals to this, and then there should be this amount should be equal to this. Let's see if it is equal to, no, it is not. So G11, yes, it should be. This is J11. Yeah, this is it should be. Um, but then why is it F6? Okay, so I should have not included this one also. Okay. F6. Let's see now it is okay. 1284, this is 1097, this is 1090, and 1114. Okay, now it is fine. So what is happening is that first of all, it is calculating the proportion of each product, and then that proportion is used to disaggregate the product group level value. So this product, which has a proportion of the average 6 months, is getting that proportional value from the adjusted key figure. So this is what we want to achieve. So for example, 209 as of 625 is how much of proportion multiplied by 1097. Similarly, 212 as a proportion of 625, and that proportional value it is getting from the adjusted key figure. And 204 as a proportion of 625. Similarly, 210 out of 641, 215 out of 641, 216 out of 641. So this is what we want to achieve finally. So let's see how to do that. So we already have achieved this portion where we are able to calculate the average of 6 months for at a product level. Now let's look at the master data. So in the master data, we will update just for to understand this concept. We will update the product family to say product group to say L1, 2, 3, 4. Suppose we want to update it for few products. Yeah. So these are the three products that we updated the product group. So let's save the changes and we will note it down. And what are the product IDs? These are the three product IDs. So basically in two different tabs, we will open the adjusted key figure at a product group level. So now let's remove the product ID, or maybe let us have it at a product group level. And we'll see the average of 6 months. We don't need the consensus event anymore. And we will load the adjusted key figure value. And we will filter by product group. And the name is 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So now we want to make some adjustments into the adjusted key figure. So let's see what adjustments we want to make it at a product group level. So say we want to adjust it at a some level for all these months. Let's save the data. Okay, it's asking for creating a planning object. Okay, the planning object created. Now let's try to create the key figure again. Okay, now we will copy this one into a new sheet. And then we'll say that it is adjustment product ID level. And the previous one will say adjustment at a product group level, right? At the product ID level, we want we would add the product ID as well, right? So this one didn't have data, right? And these two had data, right? So based on the average of last 6 months proportion, the 1,000 value got split. So let's see how it did. So the proportion of this particular value out of the total, this value plus this value, right, is this. And when it got multiplied by the key figure that we created as an adjusted key figure, this is the value it got. Similarly, the proportion of this value as a sum of this value plus this value is, and to multiplied by the update that we have made is this. So let's see, and we will see. So we see that this value got updated with 329, which we calculated, and this with 671, which we got calculated. And probably we will try to see if all of them got calculated likewise. So yeah, 447, 462, 455, 483, 501, 556, 544, 570, 614, 647. Similarly, 553, 538, 545, 517, 499, 444, and all. Now we will see if we are able to add the data for this key figure, then how this proportion. So we now see that this proportion calculation is getting calculated correctly, but we also would like to load the data for this since we are testing for this also. So let's load the consensus. So we'll first copy it in a different view. Load data for IBP 101 R. So we'll just load this data and the filter by the product ID. Product ID. And we will load the consensus demand. Will not have this too. Just have the consensus demand. And we'll add the attribute of product, and time is fine. Okay, no data found. So we are here to update the data for this. I will say run between 300 and 400. We'll update the data for this period. We'll save data. Okay. Is it allowing us? Let's see. Okay, so it's not the same then a consensus demand. Yeah, consensus demand. So probably it is not letting us. G126. No, IBP 100R. Yeah. So now we can maybe upload the data. Let's see. So consensus demand is loaded. So let's see if the average is calculated for this also. Bring in the average of last 6 months. Yeah. And then let's calculate 1, 2, 3, 6 here equals to average of the last 6 months. So more or less, we'll just verify if the average is getting calculated properly. We can see that the average is calculated properly. Now we will go back to the product ID level and see if it's disaggregating based on the proportion. So I'll refresh it. And we see that the we have to update it here also. So we will update the proportional, the average value, the adjusted key figure value. We'll save it here. Right. And then, so now we'll see that the adjusted key figure adjustment, it's calculating to 1200 and calculating to 1200. We can change it to 1000 also if required, 1500, 1600, 2000, right? Now we'll go to here and see what is the sum of these key figures. So it is summing up to 1200, and this is summing up to 1000. This is summing up to 1500. This is summing up to 1600, and maybe we can calculate the proportions also. So this is like this as a proportion of this plus this, comma, this, comma, this, right? And then multiplying by the total of 1200, I guess. Right? So 193 it got. Similarly, we'll have okay. So we'll calculate the next one as a sum of this divided by sum of this, comma, this, comma, this, okay, and multiplied by 1200. So L8 as a sum of L6, L8, and L10, right? 94, and finally L10 divided by sum of this 1200. That is a general value. Yeah, 613. We saw that. And maybe we will bring in these values just to, have this. And we will multiply this with this value. cell value, this cell value, and we'll take this here, like this here. So let's see. So 193 matches with this, 394 matches with this, and 613 matches with this. Similarly, 215, 266, and 519. Similarly, 362, 422, and 717. 377, 453, and 770. Similarly, 515, 552, and 932. So in a way, we see that this is disaggregating based on the proportion of the average 6 months value. So this is how we are able to disaggregate the adjustments at a product level, at a lower level of aggregation, based on another calculated key figure. Now, let's see how to create such key figure. So since we already have a key figure, we will have a new key figure. And since we are making a calculation, right? So we will make it, we are making stored and calculated because we want to, store the value based on the disaggregation proportion. But because we will also be doing some calculation, we will not be doing any calculation. So we don't need to declare it as a calculated key figure. Now we'll say elitable and then equal distribution. What is the proportion? We will disaggregate at a proportion of another calculated value and other key figure calculated values, right? And adjusted, we'll name this adjusted key figure or forecast adjustment. And at what level are we doing? At a month prod level. So we'll select this. What is the proportionality of the key figure? So we use the average that we have created. So based on this average, we will disaggregate.